Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Sadguru Sri Muji Baba ki Jai. So, what shall we talk about? Adrian wants to come. Adrian can come.
Namaste, Father.
Namaste, my dear.
Wanted to ask you something about, if you could say something about temperaments. Like, because I see that I'm good at some things, but I'm not very good at many other things, you know. And sometimes I feel bad about this. Like, why can't I do this? Why can't I be good at this? You know, and
Like, for example, what? What are the?
well, for example, like doing many physical things and like being good at construction and I don't know, arts or being creative, you know.
Yeah.
I don't see myself as being so creative.
Same actually. I can't draw a line straight. Not even with the scale. It still comes out sideways. It is very different from Guruji, very different from my father. He's so beautiful as an artist, as a painter, as a the way he expresses, as a poet, and I have none of that actually. You see? And yet, a snowflake cannot complain why another snowflake seems to be different from it. No? Like every snowflake is unique, every fingerprint is unique, every eye, retina is unique. You see? So every plant, every leaf, everything in this creation and this consciousness seems to play in this unique sort of way. So consciousness, we cannot really say these things, but if we were to infer something, then we can infer that to create redundancy or to create multiple of the same thing does not seem to be a favorite idea of consciousness. You see? It seems to love its flavors in all the shapes and sizes. So enjoy whatever shape is available in this intimate way that we call our body or our expression for the moment, and allow yourself to get more and more universal about all of this. So what will happen naturally is, of course, it won't be like Advaita policing or something, but naturally, I don't feel that much separation. So if you're a great artist or a painter or your expression is beautiful, then I feel like it's all part of my being, my consciousness. So it does not feel like, oh, that is separate from myself. I just see myself as consciousness, which contains all these flavors and shapes and sizes. You see? So I don't, and same is happening for you also, that you start identifying as the ocean and not the wave, because no wave is actually the same as any other wave. But if it keeps comparing, it will keep feeling like, well, how come that wave is so much bigger, and how come that wave has so much talent, and this one doesn't seem to have, and like that. So, you see, and just enjoy when you come across these special talents in the world. Enjoy and take them to be your own, but not your own as an ego, your own as pure being itself. To wonder and be in awe at how this being is playing in so many different flavors and shapes and sizes. So never feel like this does not belong to you. Everything that is in your perception, everything that is in your being is completely yours because you are that being.
Yeah.
Take yourself to be just a limited body mind, then obviously then it can feel like, how come I don't have this, others seem to have like that. You see? So in satsang, this is what you're recognizing. You're recognizing your universality, and then you can enjoy whatever flavors come to you instead of wanting to grasp at them. Because the nature of the mind, the nature of the ego is saying, I want. You see? But you can only want what is already yours. It is showing up for you, implies that it is appearing in your beingness, and therefore there is nothing to grasp at. It is already yours. You see? So you'll rest in that comfort of your own presence, and you'll enjoy all the talents that seem to show up in this world, and not just in the human condition, but you will see that in plants and fish, in birds, everything that you see in clouds. So I just want to put you at some ease with regards to this, and trust that if consciousness is playing so intimately with that body mind that we call Adrian, then it is enjoying the taste of that as well. It is not wasted in that way. So it's enjoying the taste. Your being is enjoying the taste of being Adrian, playing as if it is Adrian, and 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 disidentifying from this identity as well. It's all part of the joy of consciousness. So when we say Guru Kripa Kevalam, it includes even this. You see? Whatever body has been given with this centrality of visual perspective and all of this is not a mistake that consciousness is made. It is all for its own joy. So
Thank you.
it's like all there is, when all there is expressing itself, you see, in these individual seeming expressions, then all flavors and colors and sizes will show up. Enjoy it. All are part of one consciousness, one being. Thank you for the honesty and integrity with that question, and I'm sure it'll be helpful for everyone.
Thank you. One more thing I wanted to share, like sometimes I really miss my mother, and also relatives that passed away, and also father and grandmother. And what's the best way to be with this? Like, can I? Is it good not to? I mean, to see them as like in the ocean, like being the ocean and just waves, or I don't know.
Fine. And sometimes it's actually all right to miss an expression which was close to us. It's completely fine. It's natural to miss that expression. You see? But if you're saying from a true perspective, you will find that as you meet your being, as you come to your heart, you can meet any expression. Not only those that, okay, I don't want to sound too mystical about any of this, but every expression that you've come across, any aspect of consciousness that you truly want to meet, you can meet them completely and fully in your heart. And that is why the beautiful invocations across all the religions of the world, they invoke the presence of God, they invoke the presence of various aspects of the one consciousness. And that invocation, when it is done with complete openness and trust, it is bound to call on the vibration of that which is being invoked. So nothing is ever separate from you, and everything can be met in the heart. You see? But it is natural in the human play to miss some expressions, especially parents and children. These are very natural, and you must not feel like you're not being free enough if you miss your mother or something. So it's completely fine.
Yeah. One thing I noticed is like I feel bad that while they were alive, maybe I couldn't have a complete relationship or be totally open, or somehow it feels like something is missing, like I missed my chance, with them. But if you say that I can meet them in the heart, I feel it's good like this.
Yes, completely, completely. Just go to your intuitive heart, which is the seat of all presence, the seat of all intelligence. Everything is here. Nothing is limited here by time or space. Nothing is in the past or in the future. So nothing is lost ever.
Oh. It's nice that you mentioned the heart, because this is something I wanted to ask you, and I kept forgetting, like this heart that also you speak and Guruji also speaks, like keep your mind inside your heart. Is it good, like, to have also, like, to be aware of the chest or this area? Because I feel when I keep my mind inside my heart, I feel like some openness here in my
Yes,
chest.
yes. That's a good question. I want to clarify this for everyone. You see, so let's really look at this. So, uh, how do you know that you exist? You see, and this will be helpful. We'll come to this particular point using this inquiry. Now, many are doing the inquiry or contemplations in a inferring or a mental sort of way or an intellectual sort of way. So, if I ask you, how do you know that you exist? You see, some will just like that, and some will say, because I perceive, therefore I must exist. You see, but if there is reasoning involved, then we are just still using the intellect. It is not the direct looking which is being spoken about. You see, so this existence, like, how do you know that you exist?
Uh, there is this feeling of I amness, of
Yes, just a direct sense of the taste of I amness, the taste of beingness. You see, now for some, as you are tasting this, for want of a better word, tasting this I amness, some can feel like there's a core to it, which is in the heart area. You see, some may feel like there's a core of that beingness, because
yeah,
beingness that
I feel that, yeah.
yes. So the beingness that you actually taste, when you look for the boundary, you see that it has none. You see, it has no boundary. You see, that's why for those who don't feel this, as if there's a central point of that beingness in the heart area, they get very confused by this. Why do sages talk like Bhagwan used to speak about the heart? So he also used to get this question that if consciousness or beingness is everywhere, then why do you speak about the heart? You see? So and Maharaj actually never used to speak about the heart, because he used to say the sense of beingness is everywhere. So I've noticed that in all of us unique expressions of consciousness, some feel the centrality in the heart area. Like here also it is felt in the heart area. That's why the hand very naturally comes here often. You see? And that is fine. And for those who don't feel it, like some who just feel it everywhere, that is fine too. That is fine too. But it is the same heart that we are speaking of. Whether there is a core of it being felt in the heart, physical heart or not, that is not the most important thing.
Yeah,
But if you feel it, it is completely fine, and you can stay with that. You can stay with that.
yeah. Thank you so much. Thank
Very,
you.
very good. Thank you. See? So I just want to pick up from this before we go to the next question now. So, how are you aware of your existence? Are you still inferring? You see, when I ask you all, do you exist? Where does the confirmation come from? Is it a mental process that you undertake? Is it like, I have to exist, obviously, because I'm awake? You know? So is it a process of reasoning? Then you just have to notice, because sometimes it is just this subtle reasoning which seems to provide these answers, and we feel like we are making spiritual progress, but we're actually collecting more intellectual, spiritual understanding. So this trick I want to give to all of you, that how are you aware that you exist? Even without having to think about it, it is apparent, isn't it? And look at this for a few moments. Is it independent of thought? Independent of all mental conclusion? Or are you still relying on spiritual knowledge or worldly knowledge, conceptual knowledge of any sort? If any of you feel like you're doing this conceptually, then I'd like you to raise your physical hand, and then I can see it, and you can come up for a bit. So for the rest of you, it is clear that it is intuitive. Okay, so Madalena has put her hand up. Come up, my dear. Very good, very good. So let's dive right into this point. So try to stop being. Can you try to stop being?
Can I cry first?
Take your time.
It just feels, even this question, like, can you try to stop being, goes to my mind.
Yes. So the tears are about the fact that everything seems to be received by the mind. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Now, just do it like a child. Don't be.
I don't know how to be and how not to be at the moment.
So, do you feel like I'm not concerned about the words of confirmation or negation. No? So, do you feel like it is clear to you that you exist only after you think about it? Like right now, right now, right now, right now. Did you go away or are you still here?
I'm still here.
Still here. Still here. Even now, isn't it?
I was going in my mind to seek for an answer to your question.
Where are you before you go to the mind? From where do you go to the mind? You say, do you go from a state of non-existence into the mind? Like you exist only when you're in the mind? Okay, these are subtle things, okay, everyone? So to see if you can keep your attention on this for a bit. So many times the mind can tell us that, oh, but I don't know. I seem to be able to answer only from the mind. You see, even a question like, do you exist? Or can I stop being? then my question then is that what are you before you go to the mind? Are you non-existent? Then how would you even tell that there is a contrast? That I was not in the mind, then I go to the mind. Then it would just seem like mind, 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 mind constantly. If you don't exist otherwise.
I have this stupid idea in my head now that every word comes from the mind. And also, there is this philosopher, Descartes, from I don't know what century, who said, I think, which means I exist.
So that's very good you brought it up. I haven't spoken about it for many days, so many months maybe. So I think therefore I am is probably the most misunderstood phrase in all of philosophy and all of spirituality. And in India, we often use it to sound very special and say, look at the West. They were so stupid. They used to say, it's only because they think, therefore they are. You see, in India, we realized so long ago that existence is prior to thought. You see, but actually, Descartes was saying exactly the same thing. And I'll tell you how. So his project was very similar to the Vedantin project. He said, what is it that I can know for certain? What is it that I cannot doubt? You see, which is very similar to the Vedantin project. And like the Vedantins, he also concluded that everything that I perceive could be a dream, or because he was Christian, he said it could be that the devil has taken hold over me, and that's why I'm hallucinating. So he concluded that there is no way to not doubt what is showing up. You see? But what can I find that is undoubtable? You see? So then he said, okay, now I look at the body sensations. It was very much like neti neti. And then he came to a point where he said that if there are doubting thoughts, I cannot deny that there must be someone who is having those thoughts. You see, so the thoughts are appearing and I can perceive these thoughts. That's why I have to exist. You see, I have to exist to perceive or to have these thoughts. You see, so at the last point is where he inserts this inference, where he's saying that I therefore can infer that I must exist because otherwise, then who is having these doubting thoughts? You see, he was not saying my thoughts make up my existence, which is what most read, I think, therefore I am to be. He was just saying that even to have thoughts, I have to exist prior to that. And that was an inference he was making, admittedly. Whereas instead of making that inference, we are trying to meet this discovery of beingness more directly in an intuitive way. You see? So that is the only difference between the Neti Neti and the Vedantin project and Descartes' meditations, where he was also trying to find out what is that which is not doubtable.
But how you're saying it is like Descartes drew a logical conclusion to this.
Yeah. Yes. In the final step, you see, in the final step, he drew a logical conclusion, an inference, saying that, okay, I have doubting thoughts, but to have doubting thoughts, then I have to exist. How can a non-existent have doubting thoughts? See,
Yeah.
I think that because there are thoughts which I perceive, I have to exist to perceive these thoughts. So the cogito ergo sum was more a pointing, saying that I cannot deny my existence because even to doubt my existence, I have to exist. You see, can the non-existent doubt its existence? Can the non-existent doubt its existence?
No.
What he's saying, that I have to exist even to have these doubting thoughts. You see? So the only difference that we are doing in satsang is instead of making that final inference, we are actually seeing that can there be a more direct recognition, a direct realization of this, which was actually the culmination of the Vedantin project, whether you call it aparoksha anubhuti or intuitive insight or whatever you might like to call it. You see, for that recognition which is beyond empirical means of recognition. Whereas whereas Descartes may have used the intellect in the final step, here we are referring to that which we call intuition. Do you exist right now to hear these words?
I do.
You see? Now, is that existence only confirmed because you have thoughts which may be perceived? You see, do you not perceive the space between two thoughts?
I do perceive the space between two thoughts, and I do perceive some.
Slowly, good, good. So the one that perceives the space between two thoughts cannot be a thought.
It's the same one who perceives the thought itself.
Exactly. Exactly. So although the thought may try to convince you that you are made up just of thought, you see, that you are made up just of thought, but it's not tenable because even the space between thoughts you perceive. And everybody perceives that. So who are you between two thoughts? How do you find that one? This is the critical question, no, in all spirituality, in the search for the self that is beyond perception and beyond concept. We have to see whether it is even possible for such a discovery. But we may actually discover that not only is it possible, it is completely obvious. See? You perceive the absence of thought and the presence of thought. See? That you is which one? How do you know it's you?
Because it's not Jada who's telling me I'm perceiving my thought. It can be
Exactly.
someone else.
Yes, because it's obvious. So that is self-recognition. That is self-recognition, believe it or not. You see, now if what you attach to that I, you see, is where the problem can happen. So if you then attach, because that I which is aware of these perceptions doesn't have any of these qualities. But when it is being, you see, when it is playing the game of existence, then it also has given to itself the ability to attach attributes to itself and say, I am this, I am that, but empty of these attachments, empty of these conditions, you see, that which is aware, you see, is you. And that is the simplest self-recognition. And the only trouble you'll have with this, for all of you, is that if you want something out of that, then it will seem elusive again.
It's more like the mind wants to grasp it and wants to understand who this I is.
Yes, yes, but let's not worry for a few moments about what the mind wants, because we have the rest of our life to worry about that. And we've spent most of our life worrying about that, and we have a long time also left to worry about that. Let's look at what you want. The mind can want everything. Are you not full with yourself and empty of the desires of the mind? So that aspect of ourselves where we may find this recognition difficult, you see, forget about that aspect, because it is not difficult, it is impossible. You see? Now, check on the rest of you. See? There's an aspect which we call the mind intellect, which will have judgments and conclusions and wants and aversions and all of that. Keep that aside. Now, does the rest of you have any problem with this simple discovery? I am aware of my presence, of my being.
No.
Now, don't try to squeeze this discovery into that aspect. Nobody can do it.
Which aspect?
It's the mind intellect, which you kept aside.
Okay, there is no aspect at the moment.
Good. I'm so happy to hear that. So you don't have to squeeze this self-knowledge into some sort of conceptual knowledge, but it is very tempting to do that because in the past we've only given ourselves the certificate of knowing something only after we've known it conceptually. You see? So your mind may say, but you are not still speaking like Ananta, you see, or you get angry or you feel lust, you do all of this. How can you really? And you get into all that mental battle, which means that you're trying to squeeze the insight, which is so simple. I am aware. It is not Jada. It is I that is aware of my perception. You see, but of course we're using that trivially. So that awareness, which is beyond all boundaries, beyond all limitations, is so apparent it is you, isn't it? If somebody told you it is not you that that is aware of this voice, it is somebody else, you'd say no, it's so obvious that it is I. You see? But the mind tries to insert the attributes of this I having, you see, limbs and head and all this bundle of flesh and blood, as I call it, as original to itself, whereas actually it is not. And that you check. The I that is aware, what attribute or quality does it have? What color is it? What shape is it?
It's no color and no shape. When desires come,
Leave that for a moment.
I
You're
will.
trying to reconcile.
I
No,
want to live in if
you cannot reconcile ignorance and self-knowledge. You can even only leave ignorance. You see? So don't try to form a nice relationship between, when the mind says like that, then how can I use what I'm discovering to get rid of that desire, and be stable. If you go to that playground, you see, you will have that mental workout in that playground. You see? So allow that playground to play with in whatever way. You don't go into it. You don't log in like Guruji says. Is it that compelling? Where are you going for this answer? Because if you go there, he'll obviously, yes, I'm super compelling. You see? So when we say satsang is a movement from head to heart, this is what it means. That even for this simple question, is it that compelling? You see, in your heart, you have the answer. You don't need to go to your head and say, okay, is it compelling, not compelling? What do you think? You cannot have a movement from head to heart by just referring to the head over and over again. How to go from head to heart? By revisiting the head over and over again. That's not likely to happen then, is it?
True.
I can tell you that the mind intellect aspect of your being is really tiny. You see, it's really tiny. But like a dog's tail, which seems to get all the attention because it wags so hard at times. It just plays like that.
It does.
So let it, you leave it. I wouldn't tell you this if I didn't feel like it is a complete possibility
Uh,
for you to leave it. I wouldn't tell you unless I felt it's a possibility.
Okay, can I raise my hand again in this satsang a bit later? I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying here with you. It's just, it's so dominant here, this thought that mind is going to come again and desires are going to come again. And Maharshi said that if you still have desires, you're not going to be.
The masters have said everything. You see? He has also said that you're always free, no matter what. So one thing that may happen now is that you may start to track your progress and say, am I staying in the heart? Am I going to the mind? I'm doing well, I'm doing badly. All of that is in the mind.
True. I'm not tracking progress. I'm
The one that is concerned about what may happen as satsang goes along, whether you may lose this connection with the heart and go back to the mind again. You see, all of that is what I'm talking about. It is not a state that I want you to hold. It is not something that comes and goes. It's your very being. It's very good. Very good. So, especially for those who have been with me for a few weeks, is this simple discovery now seeming straightforward and obvious? See, because to discover your beingness is the discovery of pure consciousness, God, whatever terms you may want to use, Atma. Actually, it is the culmination of most parts of spirituality. Most spirituality just ends here. After this, only if naturally there is a inquiry or an inclination to discover what is aware even of this. What is that which is beyond even I am, before even I am. See, so it is this I amness itself which will take care of that final discovery. So this one major trick that the mind will play, the trump card the mind will play. So let me ask you a question before I reveal what the trump card is. This presence, this being, which most of you are saying is straightforward now, is obvious to you. Whose being is it? Whose presence is it? Is it individual? I know you know the right answer. Just check. There is no other being. There is no other being. There's only one being. And all that appears is this one being. There is no other God but this. There is no Atma, Paramatma except this. So in the Leela of this being, what is the mind's trump card? It is to play as if it can convince the being itself that the presence, that the beingness is individual, is located in space and time. Whereas actually, it is space and time which are in this being. Your presence. This is the God that I speak of when I say God is sitting in your living room, but you're searching all over the world. Who exists? Whose existence is this? And like someone said, the mind may still be painting a picture for you that is confining the sense of beingness as if it is located in the body. But truly check. You see, if this was true, then you would only experience the sensation on one side. That would mean that you are not on that side of the sensation. But the body sensations that you perceive, it is not as if you are more on this side and not on that side. Every perception is within you, and all of its entirety is tasted within you. So the body sensations don't actually draw any boundary to your being. We have been conditioned, we have been taught this way that they do. As little children, we did not have this idea. Very good. Very good. And the simplicity of this is that as long as you remain open and empty, as long as you remain open and empty, everything that I just said is completely apparent to you. It is completely obvious to you. But when you put on the mask of separation, of individuality, by picking up a notion of a limited notion of what you are, you see, and every notion is limited, so that's why it's a notion. It's a definition, and every definition then limits and draws a boundary. So, so the minute you pick up an idea about yourself, then you're operating as if you are under the limitations of that notion, and you create an artificial boundary just as part of the divine play. But to be open and empty is the absence of all conditioning and the pure obviousness of the discovery of yourself. Both are apparent in that. And some of you are just naturally coming to this simple recognition that this awareness, which is aware of being, aware of all perception, this awareness is independent even of being and not being. So pristine that we cannot apply anything, the broadest boundary of beingness itself, the all-pervading consciousness, even that cannot be applied to this awareness. And just a tip for all of you, how does it matter how many cars are on the road that you don't have to cross? So if you're not concerned about crossing that road, about having to drive on that road, if you have no relationship with that road, then whether there are 100 thoughts a minute or one thought a minute or no thoughts a minute, it doesn't really matter. And again, I'm reminding you that the mind is just a tiny, tiny aspect of your being. But it's like the example I used to take often earlier, where I would say if there's a big wall, a white colored wall, and I draw a small dot on it, and I say, what do you see? Most will say, I see a dot. You see? That seems to be the human condition. Nobody will say, hardly anyone would say, I see a big wall. So that's what has happened to us, in the sense that in our conceptual idea of perfection, we feel like we are not complete unless we have resolved every aspect of our existence, even that aspect which is meant to be unresolved. The roof of the intellect will always be leaky, no matter how much repair work you do. The world with the manifest world, God, truth, love, peace, none of them are that small that we will ever be able to resolve them in our mind. You see, our mind is very limited for that. But we may have an idea because of certain spiritual concepts or something, that unless uh, mind intellect is completely at peace, you see, and is not noisy anymore. Unless that happens, till then I'm not free. But then that is not the design of this. It's not the design of this. This roof is meant to leak. Allow it to leak as much as it wants. It's fine. If there was a God which you could capture in your mind, that God would not be worth it. If there was a truth that you could capture in your mind, that truth would be very small. See, that's what I was telling Madalena earlier, that don't try to squeeze this pristine, unlimited knowledge into this tiny box of concepts. If you try to do that, we'll only become like stiff, spiritual, seeker type, you see, personas, not just open and empty and free. So let it happen. Whatever's happening in the mind, let it happen. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to fix it. Okay, very good, very good. Let's go to some new faces I see with hands up. Let's go to Matthew.
Hello.
My dear.
Hi, namaste.
Namaste.
Just felt like coming up after being with you some time now.
Yes.
And there's this video on YouTube that you speak and you say, are you done with your cat business?
Yes.
And to be honest, and sometimes I feel like I'm not, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'm still chasing out this world or something. And I feel like only your grace can be the one that removes these tendencies, because I feel like alone somehow, like as if I couldn't do it by myself.
Yeah. So, okay, let's look at this together. Thank you for that sweet report. So, are you done with the cat business? I always presume that anyone who comes to satsang, the answer is yes for them. You see, that I operate in that way. And even if before I got into spirituality, I was always glass half full, So I always feel like if you're here and you watched a few satsangs, you must be done somewhere with the cat business. You see, for those of you who don't know, the cat is the false identity, which is chasing the next bowl of milk and just feeling like if I only had this, then I'd be happy. If I only had this, then I'd be happy. So trying to be a happy cat versus coming to satsang and realizing through the mirror of self-inquiry that there is no cat. But even some of us can have this recognition, there is no cat, but we seem to have nurtured the cat business so much that we feel like I still have to complete that project, before I can completely let go or something. So it's just a way not to feel guilty or unworthy. It was just to check what is driving us, what is really in our heart. So that is what I want to ask you. So your mind may have different reports. Sometimes it may feel like, yes, I'm completely done with this stuff. All I want is freedom. And on other times, they say, no, it's not so bad actually. Maybe I can do a bit of both, be Matthew for a bit when it's fun, and then be God when it's convenient. You see, this kind of thing can play out for a while. But what does your heart say? If you don't refer to your mind for this answer, what is in your heart? What are you feeling intuitively?
What we speak about, this sense of just being here,
Yes.
existing.
Yes.
And I do want to say that no matter what I do feel like truly guides my life is this love for truth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Very good. If you can see that with hand on your heart, even though your mind will doubt it, it will continue to doubt it. But if you can say it with so much integrity, that is in more than enough. That is for me done with the cat business.
Okay.
And anyway, the Sadguru's grace is always with you. Always.
Thank you.
Very, very. All my love, all my love.
Thank you. Love you. Love you.
Love you too.
You know, it makes me feel like not so long ago I had this wonderful dream, and we were walking on the beach, and there was another Sangha member, and there was you next to us also. And I remember saying, "Oh, what a blessing to be in satsang," and you said, "Yes, it's true." And also I feel like the master, like God, was already within me, no? And then you
Yes.
said, "It's great, but at some point you will come to see that there is only awareness."
Yes.
Yeah. And it stays with me also.
Very beautiful. Very beautiful. Very happy.
Thank you.
I can see the love pouring out of you even over the Zoom screen, and heart is full of love for you as well.
Thank you.
Very good. Very good. Okay, let's go to Erica.
Hello. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, my dear, you can.
Oh, I think it's my first time here with you, Ananta. before I raise the hand, I have so many thoughts and I want to share it. And then the exercise started. I just sat down and
Yes.
only one thing what is, restless in me.
Yeah.
Of course, all of that is around me. It seems like it's through the distance, but in me there is also, I can see that there is something that says like, oh, I need to be aware to know that I am. If I'm not aware, then I don't know that I am. And I can feel like there is no, how to say, it's so close. I can sense, I can watch it, but it's inside me. Somehow it's in that knowing, and it gives me, even now the heart is pumping. Is I need to know that I am. I need to be aware to know that I am.
Yes. 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 Nothing is fighting that idea.
No,
It's
but
fine.
it's also, from the another hand, it's like it's supposed to be this inside of me.
It's
Why
fine.
it is here, it's like.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So let's look at things together, and you tell me what is happening. Okay, so that we can really walk through this together, hand in hand. So when I ask you the question, can you stop being? What happens when you try to stop being? What happens?
I can. It is here. I'm aware that I am.
Yes. You see? So you answered the second question as well as the first one. Where I was going to ask you, you are aware that you are as well. So you confirm that you just are, this being is here, and that you are aware also that you are. You see? This awareness, how do you know it is you?
I don't have this knowledge that this is me. It is what it is. It just is.
Aha. So if I was to say it is not you that is aware, but it is Matthew, then?
No, it's me.
But that you see, but that you, does it have any physical attributes, any qualities, any shape?
No.
And yet, it is not an objective sort of discovery of an awareness which is independent of ourself. It is ourself itself which is awareness.
Yes.
Now, whether your mind confirms this and says, yes, I have to be aware to exist, or no, I don't really get this is so confusing, am I really understanding this? It doesn't matter what it is saying. Does this awareness, which is aware of your being, is that concerned by what is happening in the mind?
No.
Is that concerned about anything in the being?
Oh my God. I just thought that I was playing game with myself.
So it's called a Leela.
It's such a subtle way, like so subtle. Oh. And now it came, the hands in my head, how to stabilize now.
That is even more laughable than the previous one. How to shake that? Before we can figure out how to stabilize it, let's first figure out whether it can be shaken up. Let's try to shake it up a little bit. What has to come to shake yourself? What can come?
The idea that I can lose it.
Can the idea appearing, can it shake up awareness?
No.
No. Even the idea believed in, can it shake up awareness?
No, it is like it is. It looks like nothing can shake it.
Nothing can, nothing can. Try to find something that can. Because this is the trick the mind will play at you. You see, it'll
Now
say,
it says it's so simple. It's so simple. How it
yes,
could be so simple? I was looking so.
it is
It's
simple.
not true.
It is simpler than that also.
I'm just saying what is it?
You see, the one that cannot grasp it, like these hands cannot grasp this space, you see, will either say it is too difficult or it is too simple. But it can't do it either way. It had nothing to do with the discovery, you see, but it just comments on it either way. Then the same one which is saying it is so simple, tomorrow will say, oh, you had it, you lost it. You see, these kind of things. So don't worry about what it is saying.
How to not get to believe in them? It's just from another hand.
Same hand, but posing as another one. The mind is always looking for some problem to resolve, something to fix, something to stage like this.
I can sense it's like it's here, you know. It's like give me some food, you know.
But you're cutting off the supply to this mind by not giving it your belief, your identification. And a simple tip, because sometimes it can feel a bit strange like this. A simple tip is, okay, your mind may be saying whatever it is saying. What's happening in the rest of you? What's happening in the rest of you?
I feel like, you know, this calm and spaciousness, it doesn't matter what's arising or what's happening. It seems like it's not touching
Yeah.
me. It's like it not even can, you know, it's like it looks like from the distance, you know, I can see, I can observe, and it's but can you tell me why it's on a daily basis? This knowing somehow becomes so blurry and like it seems like something is like cutting that knowing or just coming in front of.
Yes. This why, actually, there's no such thing as why, because why presumes cause and effect. It presumes time, it presumes conditions, it presumes a lot of things. So the why is a great question to ask. The who is a much better question. Yes. Sometimes I say in Satsang that the answer to all whys is consciousness of God. Guru Kripa Kevalam. All is Master's grace. So the answer to all why.
Now you know what's happening in my head, like, did Ananta ask me something? What's happening? All of that. It's like, when I open my eyes, suddenly off the reality, like, boom.
All the stimuli keeps coming, and
Yeah.
there's more to feed on. You see, the mind says, "Oh, now you see what's going to happen." You see, all of this. So it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry. So let the stimulus come. Let the mind try to make interpretations, but you allow yourself to be open and empty. Allow it to go just naturally, as much as possible. Don't become like a spiritual policeman or something.
Mm-hmm.
Just gently, gently open, softly, softly. You'll be
Yeah,
fine.
it feels like even on a daily basis when I'm going to something, I still have the awareness that I am.
Yeah.
It's still here. It doesn't matter when I'm also, or I'm angry, or I'm happy, or I'm sad, or something. But now I just feel when I'm in front of you right now, another entity came like active mind, you know, really active mind. But I can see it now, right
Yeah.
now, from the stillness and that openness.
Everything that can come and go is as tiny as a mosquito. Don't have to worry.
Even, you know, when the burning coming, I'm always praying, I give you all word, you know, I give you, even that I sense there is also purity in that I'm offering to you, Guruji, but also I can sense the identity who wants to change the, you know, what's happening, you know, and oh, please release, you know, and also I can sense it inside me. There's an entity who also wants, you know, if I'm going to give to Guruji, then I'm going to be free and everything going to be all right. I also can sense two things in.
Just don't make any conclusion either way about anything.
Oh, it gives such freedom.
Yeah, it's just innocence of a child, innocence of a little child. That's it.
Thank
No
you.
position to take, no position to take whatsoever. Just open and empty. Whatever shows up in life, be fine. And like you discovered, nothing can hurt you. And even when you take yourself to be that which you are not, like you call the entity, even when you take yourself to be the limited entity, nothing is happening in reality. You see? So just whenever you feel poked or there's some suffering that seems to appear, just check you picked up a wrong notion about yourself. Just let go. That's it.
Hmm. 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 Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Love you.
Love you, love you. All my blessings, all my love.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Rashmi and Daniel.
Namaste. Hello.
Namaste.
Just wanted to take an opportunity to check in with you. I think I spoke with you maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. And so, yeah, I just wanted to come before you and see what comes up. I think one of the main things that you pointed me to last time was, so speaking also about this oscillation. And so one of the things that stuck with me really was not to keep a report card, you said. So been trying to do that just as any identification comes, to come back to the observing of it. And yes, I found it quite beneficial.
Yes, very good, very good. Because what can happen very often is that the spiritual checker guy, which is keeping this report card constantly, becomes the most oppressive aspect of the spiritual ego. It's just like, you're not doing well enough. See, you must be believing your mind so much. See, whatever had to happen is over. But still now this one is the mind posing as if it is the spiritual teacher in some way and saying good, good, bad, bad. You should do this better. You see, that itself can become the core identity and oppress us so much, rather than just us returning once we notice, okay, I got involved in some stuff, and just to return to our openness, emptiness. That is much better than making these sort of conclusions, because they are about nobody actually. They are not about anybody that is real. That is only about what we have taken ourselves to be falsely in the past. So even the conclusions about what you have done wrong in the past spiritually, or what you've done right, so either can become about spiritual unworthiness or spiritual pride. Both of them are aspects of the spiritual ego, which are equally oppressive. You see? So just to return to this simplicity, the openness and emptiness of the moment, which is not stupid. In your intuitive intelligence, everything about the entire universe is known. But most often it is not expressible conceptually. And that is why the mind will often appeal to you and say, but you can't trust that. You see, what are you even finding? And because it is not expressible conceptually, you're not able to have that debate with the mind. And we may end up buying its idea. But I can tell you that the source of all intelligence, the source of all joy, all peace, all love, all manifestation is your very being, is your very heart, is your very intuitive intelligence. So you will never be lost in just referring to that, which is not so concerned about the play in the manifestation. It is not so concerned about time. It is not so concerned about mistakes. It is much more open and free, and to come to the discovery of this universal intelligence, which has always been there, but to trust that more and more is to trust the Sadguru's presence, is to be devoted to the true master. And then we start looking at everything that comes and goes as this divine intelligence's play, as its grace. So the beautiful thing about this is that you may be deeply identified. You see? Since we spoke last, you could be fully identified, for example, not that you were, but you could be and you've been so selfish and greedy and lustful and everything, you see, all of that. But in this one instant of meeting the divinity in your heart, all of that is swept clean. And it's not just about the time that we met, it could be lifetimes of delusion. It doesn't matter, because your discovery is not in time. Your meeting God in your heart is not in time. See, it is beyond time. So it washes you clean in an instant. You see? But the trick is when you pick up any condition about yourself after that, it seems like the whole tree of conditioning that got wiped clean seems to be back again. You see, that is what you mean by the oscillation. But the good news is better because you may pick it up 10,000 times or 1,000,000 times. It doesn't matter because you are wiped clean every instant, here and now. So God has the winning hand. You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry. Which is a great antidote to guilt, because otherwise then what is guilt? It's like trying to fix something that happened in the past. It's crazy. It's just incredibly silly. So once you recognize this, that in your one moment of openness, in your one moment of emptiness, you are pristine like an infant child. Pristine. All is new, all is fresh. Very good. Very good.
Thank you so much.
Oh, well. All my love to both of you. Very good. Very good. Okay, let's go to Satyam.
Namaste, Ananta-ji.
Namaste.
And so the last two meetings has been it's whatever you have shared has gone directly in, and it's this presence of the heart is effortless.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
And it is it's not my doing, and it's not my doing. It's just always is the clear confirm presence.
Very good. Very good.
I have nothing prepared to say. A lot of gratitude towards you and and Mujiji for this lifetime to be. I just get very emotional for this topic. It's
Yeah. So do I.
yeah. It's the only thing in my heart. I know that it's the only thing I came this time for, because I've done all the cat business. And I can feel it in my heart very strongly that this was the only reason in this lifetime to meet yourself, myself. I don't want to call it whatever it is. This I just have to speak few things out, though there's nothing missing in the presence. It's a loop which is happening, and maybe you can point out. Ananta-ji, the journey starts at some point for everyone in very different ways. And here it started with many years ago. It started with the silence when it come out, and I felt, oh, this hand is not me. And while walking from the station to the house, there was a sense of, I'm talking like it's not here now. It's always, this is the case always. But there was that clear thing that something not moving inside.
Yes. Yes.
Something not walking inside. And while even talking to a friend, it was a strange sense. I said, but something is not talking also.
Yes.
And that night when the sleep came, I could not say I slept. I said, this even doesn't even sleep.
Mm.
The body, it was resting, but this, what I am, is beyond wakefulness and sleep.
Yeah.
So, and that time I didn't have these terms like I am and presence. Didn't have this vocabulary.
Yes.
The vocabulary like the person and presence. So then the years passed by, and the life did its play out. And then finally at Mujiji's holy feet, that one organized it in such a way that the sense of the being was released.
Yes.
and this whole the seeker and seeking for this 16, 17 years that I didn't do it. It came to a fruition that okay, this was it, and this is so now there's a confirmation that that which doesn't move actually is the I am, is that presence. So I just need a confirmation that is this how you sense as well.
Yes, of course, my dear, of course.
Yeah, this is the and this sleep thing. So this awareness, which is, but there's this checker guy, as you said, the spiritual person.
Yeah.
I'm just boiling the dal, so I went to the kitchen, and then there comes a thought: are you aware? So I could see this checker guy pops the head out.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's good. To spot it is all we can do.
Oh, okay.
To spot it more than enough. There's no other tool that we can send in there and say, okay, I'm going to pluck out this checker guy and pull it out. Just to spot it and to notice its tricks is all that is required. It's more than enough.
Yeah. So Ananta-ji, there's a request.
Yes, my dear. One moment. So I was just saying that one useful tip I have for you is that fresh God, you see, fresh presence, and that which is aware even of this fresh presence is always available to you. Always available to you. And never try to benchmark your current tasting of fresh God against some past experience, you see, because the mind can play lots of tricks with you.
Yeah.
This what you have in your heart presently, and that which is aware even of this is more than enough. Is more than enough. Is absolute and complete, beyond all things. You see? So remove all ways to measure, you see, good, bad, more, less, what was more free, this was less free, you see, just what is right now, you see, like this.
Yes.
Is the ultimate.
There's a measurement happening, as you've said the right word. There's a referring happening in a subtle way. There's the checker guy. I learned it from you, actually. I said, this checker guy, which is a very sophisticated form of a spiritual, very clever, like, actually, that's full with guilt, actually.
Yeah.
It's like, paap kiya, ye paap kar diya. It's a ye galti kar di, and it's like a teacher over your head.
Absolutely. And its other manifestation is its twin brother, which is like, you're so good, you're fantastic, you've done so well. You see? Now, some of course have more of that and more of this, so it's all temperamental, but it's fine. Either way, it's two sides of the same coin.
So I have just one request, Ananta-ji, and to also Muji-ji, because I know in my heart that this guru is all I knew was that I asked existence for a guru. Before I met, I really was asking. I said, everyone has it, and it came that way. And not to make it a big CV out of it, but Papaji came 2 months before I met Muji Baba, and he took me to the sea, and he drew an infinity sign on the sand. So things like that, they happen. So it's a prayer in my heart that please keep me in your heart, and whatever there is to get rid of, because I know this is the highest in my life.
Very full blessings, full love.
Though I fall down sometimes in the person, but but this is the love affair which I have with this.
Let the falling down and getting up also be the Sadguru's problem. So, very good. Okay, let's go to Niranjan for a bit. I want to check on how he's doing.
Hello, Father.
My dear.
Just a second, Father. I'm just switching on the video. Hello. Am I audible, Father, at your end?
Yes, you're still audible, but yeah, the video has come now.
Yeah.
Very good. Very
I'm doing fine, actually. In fact, I feel much more light also
good. Very good.
because, every time those attacks happen, some looking happens and some sort of lightness happens. And in fact, I'm feeling much, not only lightness, but it is mm, like silence. It's like as if nothing moving, sort of feeling. And in that, even the sensations appear very bright, like the experience is very bright. The sensory perception sort of enhanced, like of that kind of thing. And because it's like the attention has nowhere to go, like previously it was engaged with the mental processes, and also it's like you are there but you are in your mind, so that has reduced a lot. So it's like I'm here and I have nowhere to go,
Very good. Very
like like in the present moment or something.
Very good, my dear. I'm so happy to hear this report, and just keep everything light like this, soft like this. And the mind will convince you from time to time to become very conclusive, and all of these things which we call mind attacks. Of course, they can come back if that is how it is to play out. But to me, this uh, lightness be a reminder when those attacks come, that, like I keep telling you, that this too shall pass. This too shall pass. So I'm always with you, and just keep open and empty, fresh light like this. And even about your insights, don't become very conclusive about anything. Just aram se, everything is aram se. Because it can become like, from the lightness, it can go to yes, it is like this, but it is like that, but it is like that. You see, and then it can become, but it's not worth it. You see, it's not. The messages can change in the heaviness of it, in the authoritativeness of it. You see, suddenly the mind will just flip, and it will become from this pristine insight into something which is very oppressive and dark and things like that. You see, so just as much as possible, row your boat gently down the stream. Don't have to make some grand conclusions spiritually, neither some very dark or oppressive ones. Just everything is fine.
Actually, it's like you said, conclusion to confusion, like
Exactly.
conclusion to confusion, that cycle. But perhaps I have had enough experience of it, I think, and that too very strong, So it's like something has become sensitive to that movement, because it's like the moment it comes and that inner subtle taste is like, that subtle taste, it's like suffering, no matter how subtle or how small it is, but still it's like it pinches somewhere.
Very good. Very good. You make a recording of this and play it back to yourself when you're feeling like your mind is attacking you. All my love, all my bliss.
Actually, Father, I wanted to clarify something with you regarding that attention and belief thing, because recently what I am seeing is that few beliefs that I have been believing, for quite long time, and which cause these mind attacks.
Yes.
So those entrenched beliefs. So what happens, like the way you say that first there is a thought and the attention goes to the thought, and then if you believe the thought, then it becomes sort of a reality, that kind of a thing. But when these beliefs they arise, it's like these things, they don't happen. Rather, the final result, sort of, the emotion or the effect of it, that is seen directly, like.
Ah,
And so then I have to a little bit of inquire that what's the message in it, and then then you come down to the base belief. Like almost all beliefs, they come down to the person identity, but still there are variation of this personal identity, and because they are believed for quite a long time, it's like uh, the attention and belief that that scope is not there, and like you feel like fearful, or you feel like sort of depressed or anxious, and then you are aware, and so
don't worry. So if you feel like that is the case, when you notice that it has come, you see, and it just like come like that, there was no space for the play of attention or belief. Just don't worry about the mechanics of it for the moment. Just know that you can surrender it to the Sadguru in your heart. Just know that you can just leave it to that. Don't have to decode it or deconstruct it at this point. Very good.
thank you, Father. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my dear. Okay, let's go to who I haven't spoken to in a bit. Let's go to Sylvia.
Hello, Father.
My dear.
I don't know what to say to you, but I felt that I have to come and say I miss you a little bit because I didn't come.
Miss you too.
And I want to thank you because with you and Guruji, it's such a blessing. Sorry, because I don't speak so much, but
You're so welcome, my dear.
Sometimes
take your time. There's no rush.
I'm a little bit disappointed sometimes because the love is not flowing so much from this one. Maybe it's a, I don't know, projection or something, and appears in this some ugly stuff or reactions or I don't know, ugly stuff about the others, and this doesn't make me proud or something like this. I don't like it.
Yes, my dear. So let's explore this. Let's explore this a bit. And this in a way is also about the checker guy. Let's look at this. Now, we've looked at this before and said that among any time, like in a day, we can barely remember a few moments, you see. And from last week, you can remember as time goes by, the previous days, even lesser and lesser, you see. And yet, the mind is very quick to make conclusions about how our life is going, what is coming out through us. So you said something which said that the love is not always flowing. So what within us has the capability to measure that whether the love is flowing or not? What within us has the capacity to judge this?
Ego.
Huh? So you're right. It is the mind which will say, the love is not flowing enough. You see? That itself, which is the apparent blocking to the love, then comes as a policeman and says, oh, it's not flowing as much as it should. You see? So, but this one doesn't really know. It doesn't really know. So it will convince you based on how many moments of evidence that you have that love is not flowing through you. See, how many moments of evidence from last week do you have that love is not flowing through you?
I can say.
Don't worry. You're just playing playfully, Wendy. Yeah.
But what I see is just like some distraction or something when something comes and I inquire, as I don't know, I feel that it's space and there's nothing personal about something bad that it's coming. But it's some I don't know, it's something that makes me not me truly with the true in that moment. I say, oh, it's okay because it's space in here and it's something that will pass. But in deep down, I see that I'm not true to myself in that moment.
I see. So let me try one more time with this. Otherwise, we'll try another way to meet this. So when you are able to make a report that love is not flowing through you, and suppose I make the report, but love is flowing through you. So you see, so now I'm asking you for your evidence from last week and saying how many moments did you check, you see, that love did not flow through you? How many such moments where you were all like that? You see, how many such moments can you recall? And then I will present my evidence to you.
I can remember some moments.
How many? Count. Let's count.
3, 4, 5. Like
3, 4, 5. And
yes.
This is 5 out of how many moments were there last week? In every day, how many moments are there? Thousands, no? Maybe
Yes.
more. So
Yes.
in a week, maybe millions of moments where in 5 moments love was not flowing through you. And the rest?
It was okay. It was.
But you don't remember them at all. How can you say? How many moments do you remember from last week? You see what I'm getting at? What I'm trying to tell you is that what we rely on for these oppressive judgments about ourselves, that tool does not have the capacity to really fathom any of this. You see? So it takes some movements and say, okay, see now, this is conclusive about how you are. You see? But it is not conclusive. You see? I'm not saying that love is constantly flowing through you. I'm just saying that your judgment, your conclusion that it is not flowing, you see, cannot be taken to be true because we don't have enough evidence for that. You see? Now, so I'm just looking for a way in which you don't rely on this instrument for judging yourself. You see? Now, if you were to not rely on this, what is your heart saying about you?
That it's in a way it's okay. It's a feeling that it's beautiful. It's okay. It's not about a person or about me or it's yes.
Yes, that already is sounding so much more resonance to my ears, what you just said. You see, it's sounding like it's coming from your heart rather than this oppressive, authoritative mind. So rely on this one because that is my voice speaking through you. You see, that is my voice, that is my judgment speaking through you, and allow it to guide you. And all of this stuff of this much love should be there, but this is too little, you're not loving enough, and this is not how you should be free, all that can be thrown away. And just like I was telling the one before this, that in one moment of openness and emptiness, one moment, all our mistakes, everything that we think we have done wrong, everything is wiped clean. It's a fresh start because it is fresh God. We're not relying on any stale information from the mind, not some nonsense about the past, which is all old and gone, primitive stuff. Just here. You see, your presence is the home of love, is the home of peace, is the home of joy. There is never a lack. You see, and one moment of you being in that holy presence is a greater gift than most of humanity is giving to the world. So even one moment of you being open and empty, you see. So if you were the greatest sinner who ever lived, greatest sinner, only hate has flown through you. Suppose you're not, of course, but suppose even then, one moment of tasting your divine presence is a great gift which washes away everything, all the hate of the past. You see? So just fresh presence, fresh divinity, fresh Sadguru in your heart is always there. You never have to worry about the past or how this expression is playing out. You see, and don't try to represent the truth through this expression. You see, you can't do it. Nobody can do it. The truth is formless, nameless, shapeless. You see, attributeless, and is also full of all the attributes. You see, so this tiny bundle of food cannot ever represent the truth. Nobody can do it. This body can't do it. That body can't do it. Nobody can do it. You see, that's why all the masters also come in different shapes and sizes. You see, otherwise all the masters will also be saying just the same thing. They would look the same. Their stories would be the same. It doesn't work like that. Everybody is just pointing to the truth as they see it from their expression. You see, and that's it. So some masters can sound very strict. Maharaj can sound like he's going to chop your head off every moment. Some other masters can sound just full of love every moment. So are you saying that Maharaj is not representing true love when he wasn't? So don't expect this little instrument called the body-mind to be a valid representative of the truth. You stay open and empty in your heart, and then let whatever has to happen through the body-mind. You see, and anytime you feel like, okay, you became too identified, egoistic, you see, all of these things, what is the best remedy? This moment become open and empty. Because like I was saying, guilt is an absurd thing which tries to fix problems in the past, which you can never do. See? So firstly, we can never know what anything was for. And everything that comes through every expression is only part of the play of consciousness, is always only grace. You see? So trust that consciousness is not making any mistakes. And if you feel like you are too identified and you were very egotistical, then just this moment you remain open and empty. Just this moment you remain open and empty. So it's not a time-bound program. It's an instant program. It's only about right now. Only about right now. Remember what I always tell all of you. Don't try to fix it for some past you, and don't try to fix it for some future you. Just right now, be open. That's the greatest gift you can give to the past and the future.
Yes, somehow it goes like
Yeah.
this, past
Yeah.
future. And
This cannot fathom right now. See? Go to this and ask the mind to tell you what is right now. What is happening right now? Tell me what is happening right now. Right now. 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 You see, it cannot fathom it. It can only work with, oh, yesterday you behaved like this, or this morning. It's all stale news, old news, and some projection into the future. But, you know, you will not be free because you still have so many things and all these nonsensical ideas. You see? Now, that is why I'm saying that don't rely so much on what this one is saying. Stay with this, which has no concept of time actually. Although its guidance sometimes may seem like it is in time, but it is not touched by time. Lifetimes, 100 lifetimes, 1,000,000 lifetimes mean nothing to your intuitive intelligence. So that ocean of pure love, pure intelligence is with you here. Why would you go for this tiny, morsels of food which is not even tasty? Your presence is apparent to you or no?
Yes, when you mean apparent, you mean obvious, or
Yes.
yes, it's obvious.
It's obvious. Does it have any dark spots, your presence? Any blemishes, any dark spots? Does it have any mistakes or sins? Can you check on it and see whether it is not pure, pristine consciousness being?
Your question reveals something that
Yeah.
when you asked if the presence is without dark spots, or it is the presence, but somehow attention goes from this for this some, I don't know, person, I can say, or some sense that it's
Okay, try to send it there. Try to send it where you're saying it goes. Send it there. Let's see. Where does it go? Just keep sharing with me and take your time. I know English is not your first language, so take your time and just share openly. Now you say attention goes to person. Tell me where it is going. As it is going, tell me what it is finding.
some ideas from
So
here.
it's going to the mind. So
Yes.
into the mind only. No? So now just notice what is outside the mind. The mind is not unlimited, isn't it? It's just a bundle of thoughts. So a thought comes, but where does the thought come? What is surrounding a thought? Where does the thought arise?
It's in the present. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
So presence is good. Presence or being is good enough. So now, how much of the presence does the mind take up, or the thought take up? So suppose presence is 100 meters. Out of the 100 meters, how much space is taken by the mind or a thought?
not so much.
Say, let's take an approximate. Of course, presence is unlimited. So whatever it takes up will never be. But give me an approximate number. If your being is 100, how much space is taken up by the mind? Just look and see. I know it sounds a bit absurd, the question, but just with innocence, see if you can check.
Intuitively, I would say 5-10 meters, but I don't know, sometimes maybe it's more than that.
I want to tell you that from my experience, I would say it's 0.00000000000000. We can never come to the end of zero. Those zeros, it is that much space. You see? So what you could do is you could just look at this presence with your intuitive eyes, where you notice your being, and see how vast is it. It actually is vaster than all of space, because this perception of space only appears within it. You see, even this vast space, which we call the universe, is just an appearance within that space of my being, of my presence. You see, and everything that appears in this play of time and space is very limited compared to that being, which is actually beyond time and space. But we are just speaking so that it doesn't become too strange or absurd, the conversation. So I'm just saying that for the infinite, the largest ocean is nothing, you see, is nothing for that which is infinite. In the same way, for the infinite beingness, this mind is just a tiny aspect, but because we are conditioned to try and resolve things from that angle, in that space, we feel like, I'm a bit shaken up if it is unresolved there, or if I don't fix it, you see, in that way. You see? So now, don't believe what I'm saying. Just check as the thought is coming, as your next thought comes, just check on how spacious the space is in which that thought appears, and which boundary does it have. What are its limitations?
It's so vast. It's
So vast. And how big is the thought that comes to you? This much.
small. It's
Tiny, tiny. Even if you perceive it, some hear it, some perceive it like a set of words, imagery, you see. But it's tiny. It's tiny. So instead of trying to resolve it at that level, to transcend that and to see that the vastness of your being is untouched by whatever your mind may be saying, you see, is not any sort of Advaita denial, because you're coming to a deeper source of intelligence and knowledge, which is running this entire universe effortlessly. You see, so you can trust your heart for all the guidance you need, instead of trying to look at this tiny twittering mosquito. Papaji called it that, if I'm not wrong. If you feel like its representations are valid, what it is saying about the world, what it is saying about you, all of that, then it will seem to be bigger than it actually is. But actually, its representations are all nonsensical. Because who is the you that is not being loving enough? Does the body have love to give? Who is the you? You see? The physical heart is pumping love and blood. Where is the love in the, who is the you? So it's not that way, isn't it? So its representation, mainly because it is representing you as just this body, and then saying you're not being loving enough, but this body can't produce love. What food do I have to eat to produce love? It's not like that, isn't it? It's a deeper aspect of our being, our divinity, which is the reservoir of pure love. It's the storehouse of pure love, and only from there is love possible. So we cannot have that under your mind's control and say this is enough, this is not enough, it should be more, it should be less. It knows nothing about these things. It is just talking to you as if you are a bundle of food. You see? But you're not. You see? This body is just a bundle of all that we've eaten and consumed. Isn't it? So don't worry about what your mind judgments are. Let them be. And so gently and effortlessly you were able to go to your heart. So you stay with that. Stay with that.
Can I say something?
First,
When it comes something like I feel the identification and I am in it, I somehow I feel that I don't follow my heart. I listen to the mind and not to the master, not to you,
yeah.
not to Guru,
Yeah.
because it's like a coin, which is it goes in the negative part,
Yeah.
and because in that moment mind comes with a feel of so vulnerability and aloneness and fear of dying, and something says you are alone, you have to listen to me.
Yeah.
Out of fear I go to.
Yes, I understand, my dear. I understand. And this is a very natural, a very common seeming problem. One good advice that may be a good tip is to say, okay, these moments will come in life where you're going to be very thirsty, very thirsty. So now in those moments where and there's no water there, but now when there's full water, what is the best gift you can give to that one who was thirsty? Is it to think about that thirst and why you were so thirsty and why these moments come? Or is it to drink the water which is available to you now? It is obviously to drink the water which is available to you now, isn't it? So in the moments where you're not so caught up in the identity, because in those moments we can't do anything. You see, tomorrow morning this one may wake up and be just completely caught up in identity and things like that. So there's nothing that can be done then. You see, but when the realization comes, when the recognition comes that I'm taking myself to be that limited one, if I was to keep thinking, oh, but why did it come? It should not have come. How do I fix that? Then I'm not allowing myself to taste my divinity, even when the intensity is not so much. You see? So this is the way the mind plays. It catches you that way, and then it tells you should not have got caught up. You see? Then it catches you that way. So, but when the mind doesn't seem so strong, you enjoy God fully. Now you're not in that state, so what to do? Now enjoy God fully. Enjoy your presence fully. You see? And then again the mind will get you, you see, maybe, and then what to do? Nothing. Suffer, you see, suffer. But then you're out of it. Instead of suffering because you suffered, instead of that, enjoy God fully. You see? So that is it. You see? Because otherwise we keep trying to solve problems from the past and projecting into the future and missing God who is just waiting in our living room. While we are working out problems from yesterday and day before, God is like, okay, I'll also wait. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
You see? So enjoy, celebrate the fact that you're not in that state right now, and hug God. Give God a big hug in your heart. Give God a big hug in your heart. Otherwise, we keep hugging the problem only. The problem is gone yesterday, or day before. But we keep hugging the problem, saying, oh, why did it happen? Instead of that, God is here. Hug God fully.
Yes. Thank
It's a
you.
very simple sounding instruction, but it's very, very potent, you see. It can take out the main tricks the mind can play on you. Because the mind suffering is very little, but it stretches it out with all of this, looking back at the past and all of that. So now you're not identified. You're not identified, isn't it?
No.
So is that not worth a great celebration? Can't you love God in your heart fully because you're not identified in this moment? You see?
Yes.
Very good. Very good. Very good. So a sage or a master never says that they can never be identified. You see? They may also, something may happen and they get identified and things like that. But the moment the crutches of conditioning or the bite of conditioning is not that strong, the next moment they are free and they're celebrating and they're loving God in their heart. That's it. That's the only difference.
Thank you.
Very welcome.
Very useful, this
Very
mirroring, and thank you. And please keep me with you in your heart, and may this one be more and more with the I don't know with what, but with God more than.
very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Always with you. Always with you. Okay. Where should we go? Okay, haven't met Kumar in some time. Let's see.
So Pranam, Father.
Master.
So I had a question. How does one take their spiritual process to the workplace? So if I see any patient at that time, I can't be reminding myself I'm consciousness, treating consciousness. I have to be like fully there. So
Yeah.
since you are so much both into the world at the same time, carrying your realization, could you give some pointers on how to take the spiritual process to the workplace as Karma Yoga?
Yes. So the easiest way is to be as open and empty as possible. Now, open and empty implies that you don't know what type of yoga it is. You don't know whether it is home or workplace. You don't know whether it is left or right. You don't know anything about anything. You just are there. You see, even that you don't really know. You see, but so it is completely unfiltered presence, unadulterated presence. You see, which doesn't have these distinctions. Everything in life for God is just life. God is not trying to balance work life. God is not trying to juggle all the forms of yoga. You see, He's not trying to do any of that. You see? Just God is here. When you're open and empty, the presence of God is palpable. When you're closed and identified, it doesn't seem as palpable, but it is still God. You see, so it's a win-win situation. First, be reassured about that. You see, either way is God's Leela, which is playing as if it is identified, or whether it's open. Now, if you want a tip as to how to carry this divinity into whatever may come, just be empty of your limited ideas about yourself. And that is the simplest way. If you try to do it through conceptual knowledge, then you will look at life through the conceptual lens. You see? And the conceptual lens is not ever big enough to capture the entirety of life. You see? So you'll never achieve that by thinking your way through it. You see? So when I go to work, I chant this mantra 7 times, then when I'm getting out, you see, it can become too deeply identified as personal, although the attempt may be to stay with the divinity. You see? So just don't worry about it so much, firstly. Secondly, in any moment, no matter what it is, whether work, life, whatever else is showing up, just open and empty. Open and empty.
Thank you so much.
So welcome. So welcome. Let's see. I haven't heard from Edgar in quite a while.
Hello.
My dear.
Hello, Ananta-ji.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Yes, haven't talked to you in a while. I listened to your words. You say such beautiful words, and sometimes I remember that what you say, like all masters say, that it's just a pointer. It doesn't have to be taken too seriously or too literal. For example, you sometimes say that you feel one with everything or things like that, and in my mind it goes like, I'm not seeing everything as inside me or this or that, so that confuses.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. We can spend some time on that one because that confuses many, many people. No? Because the masters have said, I see no separation. You see, all of this is called Advaita, which means there are no two. So they have some idea that to be one with everything would mean that you become like there are like tentacles coming out of your skin and everything is attached. I'm exaggerating to make the point, of course, but it's just like you feel like, okay, I can feel the sensations from the wall and I can feel the sensations from that door, and you know that pigeon on the this thing, I can feel the sensation of its wings, and only then can I feel one with everything. But it is not about that. You see, it is not about that. It is much simpler than that, and maybe even disappointing to some. Which could be that you notice that actually there is no division except the mental notion of separation which you build around a set of sensations which we call the body, and then say, this is me. You see, naturally, like in the dream state, all of the dream and all its appearances, the mountains and rivers and gardens and everything are part of the same you, the one consciousness, you see. And many times in the dream, we also take ourselves to be just that dream body, one character who's running around, you know, something, doing something, you see. But many of us have that experience when that identification is dropped in the dream, you realize that all of it is part of your consciousness. Now, the same thing happening in the waking state is this awakening, you see. Many of us have this, and if you don't, it's okay. You don't have to worry about that. But many of us can relate to this. You have the experience in a dream where you notice that you're not the dream body, and it's a dream, and therefore all of this is appearing within you. It's just so apparent that way. When the same thing happens in the waking state, that is the awakening, that is the realization. And many of you are realizing that, and all of you are realizing it at least moment to moment. Some of you it can be seen all the time. Some of you may feel like it just comes and goes sporadically. So the moment you're not taking yourself to have a separate boundary or a separate sense of separation. Okay, you're in a noisy environment, no worries, my dear. You can mute. And, you can. So this idea of oneness feeling like it's something very special, you see, please leave that. You will have some spiritual experiences where you will notice that all of this is within you, or the whole universe is nothing but a tiny firefly or something like Maharaj said. You see? So all these experiences may come. But what I'm pointing you to is much simpler than that. It has nothing to do with any extraordinary, mystical, spiritual experience. You see, it is just that you don't make any sort of notional boundary to yourself. And therefore, you cannot say, I am only here and you are only there. No? That is your mouth speaking, this is my mouth speaking. All these absurd ideas, which seem very natural to us at the moment, you see, will not be taken seriously. And that is simple oneness. That is simple recognition. It is not, it's not some extraordinary ability or something like her head is nodding, you know, the body's head is nodding over there, but I don't feel like it's somebody else's. Within my being, one mouth is speaking, one head is nodding. You see, now what divides them into two? Only our notional idea that a body makes up a unit or an entity of something. But that's just a notional idea, and children don't have that when they are born. We were taught this additional condition. So that is the simple oneness. Just remain open and empty, and all of these insights will become apparent. You see, the mind's nature is to pick on these things and say, oh, see, all the masters talk like this. Is this your experience? And of course, you say, no. You see? So don't worry. Just stay in your open and empty, in your notionless existence, in the unborn, whatever you want to call it. And all these insights will just be natural to you. No rush. Have you seen that? What is that? Don't rush challenge? No. If you are too spiritual to be my son. Nobody has seen it. We have one meeting which is non-satsang, just pop culture. Don't rush, basically. Are you saying something? You can raise your physical hand to let me know. Done? Okay, let's see. Nico and Jida are left. Let's go to them for a few minutes. Let's go to Jida.
Hello. Thank you, Father, for again inviting me. Father, first of all, I just want you to tell me, when I'm done, because I'm coming week after week, and every time I'm saying, okay, this week I want to go to Father, like just it's too much. But I, of course, just naturally I'm coming to you because every time I need you, and sometimes it's just not neediness, but it's to be with you.
Yeah.
So please just let me know when the time has come.
So let's start at that point where a few weeks ago we had this beautiful conversation and you discovered that you are this self which is beyond all these limited boundaries and nothing could appear in this realm that could really hurt you in reality. Is that still your intuitive insight, or has that gone?
No, it cannot go. It's always here. It's like nothing can change it. And as you know, actually, I shared with you at the last week, just too much happening. The body, the mind, yet the seeing is just so apparent. And even though the screen is just so full, Father, and too many illusions actually play. Like I wake up from one illusion and then from another, yet the seeing just so clear, and nothing can change the clarity somehow. Not yes, Father, like too many illusions come, and no illusion at all can change this clarity, and it's just so clear. And I mean kind of all, how it's called, like O, like AWE.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like because it's like this. Yet sometimes fear comes, Father, when those illusions come, when things are happening in body, like the fear come, like if I take on someone else's karma, or because I experienced before too many these negative forces or something, and I just suffer from them a lot, and still I carry. And
pause for a moment. So the seeing is untouched, which is another way of saying that yourself or awareness is untouched no matter what comes. You see, now that which is attributeless and not in time and not in space, to that, all these patterns, whether they exist or don't exist, like karma, cannot apply. It can only apply to that which has some quality, isn't it? Now, what makes you change your reference point from this pure seeing or awareness into something which can be a victim to the patterns of the worldly play, you see, and therefore stuck in these kind of loops? Is there something that can really be that strong, which can confuse your truth about what you are and take yourself to be just a tiny aspect of this worldly play?
I'm not sure about the question now.
I'm just asking that you say that the seeing remains untouched, you see, which means that the seeing is not the seeing of sight. It is the seeing which is the pure awareness, which is aware even of sight, sound, all of these things. And it is your very self, because you are aware. You see, you say that that is very clear. And I saw a few weeks ago that it was apparent. It is apparent. So now, obviously, even things like karma, etc., cannot apply to this because this is untouched. It is unmoved. You see? So all the patterns of the functioning of the manifest, even if they were real, how could they apply to you, which is beyond all such qualities?
They come to this.
Say again?
They cannot apply to this. Yet, as if I have fallen before, I fear from falling again and to fall from this seeing somehow. And even though I know that nothing can apply to this, but yeah, I can fall again.
Which I can fall?
The one who has fallen before.
Good, good. Okay, so pause there. So then there are three of you. No? So there is the awareness.
I just gave an answer before checking.
Okay,
Sorry.
don't worry. It's for everyone. So many of us can get into these kind of belief systems. So let's just look together. There's an awareness which is beyond all laws of the material world. No? There's a body mind. There's an awareness which is beyond all the so-called patterns and laws of the material world. Gravity does not apply to it. Magnetism doesn't apply to it. Nothing applies to it in a worldly way. You see? So that is one. Then there is the body-mind, which we have taken ourselves to be a long time. You see, we may have believed we are that, or some idea in between. You see, between this and the body-mind, we have taken ourselves to be that. You see? And then now you're saying that there is one who either stays there or can fall into that. You see? So which one is that one? See? So you may be referring to this sense of being, the consciousness which has the ability to identify as the limited one, and also when lets go of the limited ideas, can recognize its own source as pure awareness. You see, you may be referring to that consciousness, but you don't have to worry so much about that consciousness because that is God. You see, it is the worry sometimes which is the play of consciousness to play as if it is the limited. You see, so in the worry of not falling is the falling many times. I don't want to fall again. But you're no longer then speaking as that. You're speaking as the fallen one. You're speaking as an identity. Yes. So when you notice identification, and I've been sharing this in the satsang, what is the best approach? You noticed it, it's over, forget about it, remain open and empty, hug fresh God completely in your heart, stay with it. You see, stay with it and enjoy whatever appearances are coming.
And one reason, Father, why I'm coming to you week after week, of course, just you are so much with me, and I have never experienced life this graceful, like this graceful, like I'm moving as you know, and of course, it's just I'm just down on my knees and just too much joy in this. And yes, I fear that if I won't come to you, it won't be with me, because for me, it's your grace, it's not my being, even though it says, anyway, I don't want to go there, but for me, it's like it's coming from you. So, and because still these thoughts coming, like not thoughts, the memory comes how hellish state I was in and you have taken me. This fear is still alive and it exaggerates the experience that I have, like karma or this thing. It's just exaggeration, even though it may have some truth in it. So this fear is just so alive.
I understand. I understand that that many times this is almost like I have to show myself, I have to come because I need his blessings or his presence or his
grateful hand.
You can understand that. And as you settle more and more into my true presence, which is in your heart, then you will not feel so fearful about this, and it'll become easier and lighter. Many times it can manifest almost like a need for attention, but it's actually not just purely a need for attention. It could come from a place of fear that if I'm not seen by Father, then may I not have his presence as strongly as I do, or some idea like that. But you realize that Father is just a term which truly applies to the Holy Father in your heart, you see, and of which Ananta is just an instrument, which is just speaking for that. So
I don't accept it now. I can't.
oh, I see.
Just at least Father bless me and stabilize me in this somehow, this graceful state, you know. Just, yeah, this is my prayer.
Always.
Because so much fear comes. Because recently also I again started to experience some misfortunes start to happen in my seeing and this kind of things, you know, like like bad vision or something which I wasn't experienced by connection with someone who has this kind of temperament. And anyway,
don't take yourself to be anything other than your highest insight about yourself. And when you forget that you forgot that, you see, and come back to this. Don't beat yourself up over it. Just keep coming back to this open and empty, and coming back to your unborn self, unborn mind.
Okay, but so I'm still asking for this blessing that you will stabilize me in this graceful state, and I will never fall from that. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, if this is so, then I'm done.
For
now.
It has always been so. Oh, my love. Okay, let's go to Aniko and then Devi.
Thank you, Ananta-ji. Can
Thank
you
you.
hear me?
Just about, but it's fine. It's fine.
Okay. Because now it's a bit difficult, because when I wrote the question, it was very serious, and now it doesn't feel that much serious. But yeah, sorry?
Does it still feel a bit true? If it doesn't feel true, you can discard it.
It is just a fear behind it. If I don't ask it now, it will come back in the future, and yeah, so many problems. So usually is because you already told me everything and show me even what is not true and what is true, and is really very clear in a way. But in another way, this salesman is still here and just keep talking and just don't want to go away. I don't know why he's still here. And
how many rooms is it taking in the room, in the house of consciousness?
Yeah.
How many rooms is that serious guy taking?
When there is a belief, is taking everything. This is nothing just him that time. It's so big that time, and he can create the belief because he very suggestive and sometimes create some idea, and I just look at this idea and say, oh my God, really, this is me, and this is how it's working. And
okay, so let me try to say something before you get to your question. Now, in your experience of life, from your report, you will either have this one who's taking all the house, then it's taking all the house, nothing to be done. No? Suffer through it, there's nothing to be done. No? Now, when it doesn't have the house, then what should we do? Should we think about the time when it has the house and waste even that time? Or what is the alternative? You see, because that is also that one's trick, to try and keep holding on to the house, even when it cannot hold the house. You say, when the belief is strong, there's nothing can be done. And I'm just identified, I take myself to be this limited one. You see, there's nothing I can do. Okay, nothing you can do, fine. You see, now if it is not the case, what is the best gift you can give yourself? Is the best gift that you can give yourself to wonder about those times and feel like, why can that not happen? Why does it keep happening to me? You see, when will I be free from this? Or is there a better gift than that?
Yeah. I don't want to think about, no, I want to stay present in my heart.
Exactly. Very good, very good. Once you have that insight, then the main trick of the mind is gone. Because the mind cannot truly persist. It takes too much energy for the mind to keep convincing you that you are limited. But then what happens is that it plays these episodes, you see, and then it keeps replaying them and says, see, now yesterday this happened to you, this happened to you. And we will sort of in that same hypnosis, we continue, yeah, I don't know when it will stop. Let me ask Father, what can we do? You see? But Father can just point you to right now. Full God is here. Full God is here right now. You see? Nothing is missing for you right now. So a better strategy, rather than holding on to these moments from the past, you see, is to embrace the fullness of your divinity right now.
Yeah. Ananta-Ji, this mind, this salesman is working with fear, and when the fear, because it keep telling me you won't ever be fully and completely free, and so many fear behind.
You being who? Who will not be?
Yes, I know, but he can create the belief this is a me, and yeah.
You see, body mind will never be fully free. No, body mind is just going towards death. It will never know eternity. You see, so if you buy into the representations that this one is selling, as if there is a possibility that they could be true. You see, now does the mind even have the capacity to examine how much fear is there? Can we really look and say, okay, how many grams of fear have to be there or kilograms have to be fair for the mind to say it's a lot? The mind can sometimes take the littlest thing and say it's a lot, or this big and say it's a lot, or this big and say, oh, it's nothing. You see, the mind is a completely unpredictable clown. You see, there's no real consistency to its reports of the so-called truth. But if we keep dancing to the tunes of this clown, then our life will become funny like this. And that doesn't seem that funny, actually.
Not at all. Yeah.
Because there's no consistency, no? In the mind. It's not as if it's a fair player. Sometimes it will take the most absurd things and say, oh, you're so great, you're so fantastic. You see, it takes, other times it will take very sweet things and say, but you're really terrible. You see? So don't dance to the tunes of this one. Because the mind is saying there's so much fear. Does it have a measuring tape to be able to measure how much fear is there? It can't even count 100 oranges. How can it count how much fear is there? Show me 100 oranges in your mind right now. No, you cannot be sure they're 100.
No, because you are
Maybe
with me.
3, 4, maybe 5. 6, 7, you're already gone. Saying, oh, but your life is like this, you have so much fear. 6 oranges, it can't count straight. And we use this judgments to judge our life.
Yeah.
You see, no, I'm not blasting you. I'm just saying that the reports of the mind are so absurd, and for us to be able to take them as some sort of representatives of truth is even more absurd. You see? So the mind will say, little bit it'll find something. Maybe it's a muscle cramp or something, and then say, oh, that's too much fear. You know, that's too much fear. Then we say, okay, how do I fix that fear? Why does the fear still come? You see, does it really know any of these things?
No, just dropping ideas. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see? So stay true to your insight, because you had pristine insight about what you are, and don't fall for these just absurd notions from the mind and ideas about how much of something is there. Trust your heart. Your heart will tell you how much fear is there. If you say from your intuition, you can sense that there's this much oppressive something. I'm happy to hear a report like that.
But Ananta-ji, is very easy to see this when I am here with you.
Yeah.
And
So
also the salesman use this one as well. Then this is not your destiny, because if it was your destiny to be entirely, completely free, you would, I don't know, born as Indian, sitting in a cave, or in Bangalore, or in Shahabad. You can see this is not your destiny, and you cannot change your destiny, and done. And
we have some caves in our building now. Because of lockdown time, they cannot leave their caves. They just, because they have to live in these caves. So some of them are living there. But the complete possibility of freedom is there for them and for you. There's no difference in the cave or non-cave. But more seriously, what I'm saying to you is that forget about destiny, karma, time, all of these things. They do not apply to the insight which you had about yourself. If you keep taking them to be real, these notional ideas, then you will take your notional idea of yourself to be real as well.
Yes.
Who does destiny apply to? So mind says this may not be your destiny. Whose destiny?
Of course.
Something in time that has destiny or is impacted by karma or something like that.
No, just, when I am go out from here, I will meet a lot of people.
Who will go out from here?
Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm not just Advaita chopping. I'm just seriously asking, like, we take these to be real, you see? But after, in a satsang where you recognize the broadness of your divine presence and the absoluteness of that which is aware of even this presence, to take yourself to be something that comes and goes and all of that, is it really true, or are we operating on some ideas from the past?
It's just ideas and beliefs. Yeah, but there is a big difference when I am here with you and when I am not. Yeah.
Who? I'm going to sound like an owl.
Yeah, just the belief of somebody. Yeah. Yeah, it's something like Jada was talking about. Yeah, maybe some kind of, sometimes really just, I was thinking to create a question.
That's the problem. I was thinking itself is the answer.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you say after that. Once you say, I was thinking, it's clear what the problem is.
Yeah.
Even if you say, I was thinking about the magnificence of God. If you were thinking about it, no chance.
I trust you, and
Yeah.
trust
In India, I don't know if you've ever been here during the time in India when you play Holi. Did you ever experience the festival of Holi?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
So usually there are these places, no? If you leave the house, basically, then you expect to get covered in color. Yes? So the mind is like that. If you go to thought, then don't expect not to, don't expect that you will have your pristine white clothes as they are. You see, expect to be covered in misery and suffering. Some people have these ideas, no? In the north, in Delhi, they used to, when I lived there, it was really strong, this festival. So especially as a child, some people would have these ideas that, no, people should respect my wishes. I don't want to get colored. Within 10 seconds, they were fully colored up. There's no chance. They can, it's like a very Satsang festival. You can have any ideas about how you should be treated, but you'll be fully drenched in water and color within a few seconds. So you may have some ideas about, oh, my insights will save me from my mind and I can visit it and still have a good time and, things like that. It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ananta.
So now you don't know what to do with these metaphors come up.
No, I just feel whatever I would say is just nonsense. So, yeah.
Except when you speak from your heart. If you speak from your heart, it is the voice of my master speaking. Even the silence is my master's voice.
Thank you so much.
Okay, let's go to Devi.
Hello.
Dear.
My connection is not so good today. I don't know if you can hear me. I don't hear you so well.
I see you also well. Yes, it's good for now.
Okay, good.
How is it going? Not understanding still or starting to understand something?
I don't know. This last week has been a bit difficult.
You know that. Sometimes what happens,
I don't know.
Then when we feel like I have to make a report, like I've told you, please make a report till I tell you to stop, so which is good. Then it can feel like I must find some things which I have to report, you see. But a report could just be like, I'm here, Now, but if you're believing that it is a certain way, you see, then see whether it is just a conceptual understanding you have, or can you really confirm it to be true? So when you say last week has been difficult, I can ask you the same question I asked Sylvia, which was, how many moments of last week can you remember? She's counting a lot of moments.
Like somehow there are days when I just feel so like crazy. Like, I don't know, it's very difficult to not say that the whole day was hard, and it just feels like no matter what I do, what I try to do, like sit or inquire or chanting or whatever I try, I cannot come to peace inside myself, and it's just so painful and crazy. And then the on top of that, why can't I apply anything to, I don't know, yeah. And I cannot, like I know all you say also in this satsang, it was like, I cannot accept, something doesn't accept, or I don't know, there's so much negativity, and so this identity of the one trying and feeling like I'm suffering, it's so strong.
Yes.
And
Okay.
there's no space.
Let's pause this. Just pause at this point. Let's examine this closely. So there's an aspect of your existence where you can accept or not accept. What aspect is that? Does that take up all of your being? Or is it just the intellect, the mind?
It's
And I'm not,
somehow it's
yeah,
in the central of my attention all the time. Like maybe it doesn't. It feels like it's strongly inside the body, but it like it doesn't allow me to see, like to even to feel. I don't feel my heart or like the presence of God, or I don't know. I just feel this suffering, and it's like the whole all attention is always there.
yes. So is this what you're saying, what we would usually call the mind, or no?
Yeah, but somehow I would like to also feel the truth, like not all
Yeah.
the time experience only this, like only the mind.
Yes, yes, yes. So this is what we are going to try and do now. So, uh, so notice the aspect of your mind. When I say, is this hand up right now? Can you accept
Yeah.
that? Yes. Is this hand up now? Can you accept that?
No. Yeah.
So can you zero in on that aspect of your existence, which has all this judgment about yes and no? You can notice. You see, the rest of you is
Sorry.
the rest of you, as you confirm yes, as you say no, the rest of you is untouched, isn't it? It's only the intellectual, judgmental aspect of your mind which is impacted by the yes or no. Yes? We can go slowly on this
Don't
because
feel sorry.
yeah, it's fine because this can be very sticky, but this is very useful to see. You see? Now, is this Ananta's mouth speaking right now?
Yes.
Yes. See? Does he have two hats on his head?
No.
You see? So just notice this aspect of your existence where there can be a judgment yes or judgment no based on some perception or just some thought is coming yes, yes, no, no, this kind of thing. You see? Now what you do is just see what else is there to you while the same yes or no is happening. Is Ananta's hand up?
Yes.
Yes. This judgmental part of you, do you feel like it takes an overwhelming part of your being? It is too hypnotizing. It just takes up too much power.
Yeah, I can't experience anything else, although the being must be there also from what you say, but I can't feel anything, only this like craziness. I don't know how, I don't know.
It's okay. So when I ask you, can you stop being or try to stop being? Is it just the mind chatter, or can you actually try to not be?
I can feel my being,
Yes.
but at the same time, inside this being is all this turmoil and this pain, and
And
like
that
I can't. Yeah.
is that your being's report?
Sorry.
So
Is
okay,
that
let's try a simpler experiment. So just stay with I can feel my being. So try to stop being. Just feel your being. Don't worry about what's happening inside it. You don't have to fix anything. Let whatever quality of being is there, let it be that. If it is incomplete, if it is not fun, whatever it is, let it be. It doesn't matter. It's not for you to fix. So this being, just stay in its presence and don't worry about anything that is within itself. If you didn't have to fix anything about it, would you have any trouble?
There is like a energy of like this trying, like this energy of trying has become like so like a despair inside, and it's very alive there, and it catches my
Now
like
let's
I
try.
feel the being.
Let's pause. Now try to stop being, but forget everything before you do that. Like all your past, all your spiritual knowledge, all your conclusions. Don't know what trying is, don't know anything about anything. Just try to stop being, that's all. With the innocence of an infant baby. Don't understand anything about it. Just don't be, that's all. You're not to decipher something, not to understand anything. Just don't be. Try to not be. Without any straining or effort, just if any report is coming naturally, you can report that.
There is what was coming was like there is a lot of fear about being stuck in suffering and feeling like I don't get it, like I can't do it right, like it's something wrong with me. And there is a lot of panic and fear about that, and something can't relax, can't.
Don't worry at all. It is impossible to do this wrong actually. So don't have to worry about it at all. It is not actually that you are to find God or something. It is just that for a moment we become open to God's presence, which is always there, being apparent, being palpable to us. So it is not the creation of something new. It is just seeing what already is. Don't expect any outcomes. Don't expect anything to change. Just remain aware of your presence for its own sake. There's no other outcome you're looking for. You can see that in spite of the mind's tantrums and complaints and the emotional release of fear and all of these things happening, you can still notice your being, you can still observe your presence, isn't it?
Yes, but when I sit by myself,
Yes.
it's very difficult. Like I just go to this and I feel like I can't let go in this, like something is not, I don't know how to explain, like it's just,
I understand. What you
there
try
is
is,
a very contraction inside it.
what you could try is, till we meet next time, you could actually play this recording back to yourself and see as it's almost fresh, and let it become like a guided process for some time, and then it will become more and more natural, and then next time when we meet, then you can report again. But effortless, allow everything to play out. See, whatever may be coming in your thought layer or your emotion layer, it actually doesn't get in the way. Only your mind convinces you that you're not doing it right or you're missing it.
Yeah,
Actually,
this is very strong, like I'm not doing it right, or I can't do it, or it's come so quick and so like
it's a habitual conditioning. It's like a habitual conditioning which will naturally just get cleaned up more and more. Don't worry. As you learn to taste your own being and you see that you are aware even of this, all of this conditioning will become lighter and lighter. But don't check on it too much and don't understand too much about it, because then that will add to it, not reduce it. The more conclusive you become about your state, the more the state will seem to solidify, and the more open you can be about it and leave it as much as possible in the hands of the Sadguru, then the more openness, the more spacious it becomes. Your mind is not a tool strong enough to make a valid diagnosis about what's happening with you. So don't trust on its reports too much.
Yes, and one thing that I wanted to share is like sometimes after satsang, like I feel sometimes worse, and then the mind says, see, it's not working, like you're not getting anywhere, and it's so painful because
The next marketing video for Satsang with Ananta is, this should be the next marketing video for Satsang with Ananta. After Satsang, I feel worse.
Sorry, I'm sorry for that.
I'm messing with you. Don't worry. Don't worry at all. But it plays that way. It's not the first time I've heard it. Don't worry. Over the last 9-10 years, I've heard it many times. But what happens is that in Satsang, you come to a few moments at least of insight about what you are. So the mind is almost waiting, like guerrilla warfare, for satsang to get over and then to do like that, and then you feel like, oh, I don't know if this is working or whether this is actually helping me. So it plays that way, as if it's just hiding away for some time, and then it pounces when satsang is over. So it's very natural for these things to happen. Don't worry. There's no other place to go for us to be free from these kind of mental conditions. So whether it is this type of satsang or some other satsang, it is satsang itself which is the only remedy. So one way or the other, you'll find yourself in satsang. So.
Thank you. And please, I don't know what to say, but I feel I need help. I need grace, and yeah, and I don't even have enough trust or belief or devotion. Like I believe more in my mind, but somehow something brings me to you and to Guruji.
That is more than enough. That much is more than enough. And I want to say to you that don't trust your mind's reports, because from the first time when you came up to today, there's a huge difference. It's huge. You may not see it. In fact, your mind may say, oh, nothing has changed. But I can see it. So trust my report for some time. And don't go with your, judgmental mind so much. Just stay as not understanding anything as possible. Okay, I can see that this body is done. The head is also spinning a little bit. So I feel like we're done for today. I can play a quick bhajan and then close. Play this last time, maybe. Shiva Shiva Hara Sundaranana. Hara Shiva Shiva Hara Sundaranana. Hey Sundaranana, Sundaranana. Sundaranana, Sundaranana. Hara Shiva Shiva Hara Sundaranana. Hara Shiva Shiva Hara Sundaranana. Bhushita Hara Sundaranana. Phala Netra Madana Mohana Sundaranana. Bhasma Bhushita Hara Sundaranana. Phala Netra Madana Mohana Sundaranana.
भूतनाथ देव देव सुंदरानना हर शिव शिव हर सुंदरानना हर शिव 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 हर सुंदरानना हरे शिव शिव हर सुंदरानना हे सुंदरानना 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 हर शिव शिव हर सुंदरानना हर शिव शिव हर सुंदरानना हर शिव 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 हर सुंदरानना हर शिव शिव हर सुंदरानना भस्मभूषितार सुंदरानना कालनेत्र मदन मोहन सुंदरानना ओ भस्मभूषितार सुंदरानना कालनेत्र मदन मोहन सुंदरानना ओ सुंदरानना सुंदरानना ओ सुंदरानना सुंदरानना भूतनाथ देव देव सुंदरानना भूतनाथ देव देव सुंदरानना हर शिव शिव हर सुंदरानना हर शिव शिव हर सुंदरानना हर शिव 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 हर सुंदरानना हर शिव शिव हर सुंदरानना हे सुंदरानना 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 हर शिव शिव हर सुंदरानना हर शिव शिव हर सुंदरानना हर शिव 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 हर सुंदरानना हर शिव शिव हर सुंदरानना मेरे मोको का ढूंढे रे बंदे मोको का ढूंढे रे बंदे मैं तो तेरे पास ले मैं तो तेरे पास ले ना मैं जप में ना मैं तप में ना मैं जप में ना मैं तप में ना ही व्रत उपवास मेरे ना ही व्रत उपवास मेरे ना ही क्रिया कर्म में रहता ना ही क्रिया कर्म में रहता ना मैं योग संन्यास मेरे ना मैं योग संन्यास मेरे मोको का ढूंढे रे बंदे मोको का ढूंढे रे बंदे मैं तो तेरे पास रे मैं तो तेरे पास रे खोजी हुए तो तुरंत मिलूं मैं खोजी हुए तो तुरंत मिलूं मैं एक पल की तलाश मेरे एक पल की तलाश मेरे कहत कबीरा सुन भाई साधु कहत कबीरा सुन भाई साधु मैं तो हूँ विश्वास मेरे मैं तो हूँ विश्वास मेरे मैं तो हूँ विश्वास मेरे मैं तो हूँ विश्वास में ढूंढे 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 ढूंढे
Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Sri Muji Baba ki Jai. Guru Kripa Kevalam.